Hello, Rick Gideon here. Excuse me. I want to talk about just throwing this on the screen. I want to show you that the United States in these latter days fulfilled the prophecies of Ephraim. The multitude of states, the multitude of nations, the great assembly of peoples, that's the United States. And us, I believe, by military force, by taking Syria to begin to get the ball rolling concerning the Damascus Oracle or Jacob's trouble is going to be a sign. One of 3 or 4 major signs I'm contemplating on witnessing here to show that the United States is Ephraim, and also to try to get across to you that the doctrines I'm proclaiming, including that there is one God and Jesus is the Son of God, and also that God is going to save his creation through his Son to the last fragment, is true. And these people that are coming forth, 144,000, are going to have a specific job, a couple of jobs. Number one is to preach the gospel of repentance and remissions of sins again, having the truth of the one God and the Son of God in them. And number two, that a sword is coming upon the land. So where does the prophecy of the greatest nation in the history of the world begin? And I'm going to make this as short as I can. I'm not going to go through all these prophecies. Well, it begins with Abraham. Chapter 12 of Genesis, verse 1. Now Yahweh said to Abraham, get out of your country, from your family, from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation, a high and lofty nation. I will bless you and make your name great. And you shall be a blessing, and I will bless those that bless you, and I will curse those that curse you. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. So this is a physical blessing and also a spiritual blessing. And it's going to get expanded, as I'll show you here. Let's go to Genesis chapter 22. I'm going to skip through a few things here. This is when Abraham was told to offer Isaac up as a burnt offering on Mount Moriah. Now it came to pass that after these things that God tested Abraham, saying, Abraham, he said, here I am. More or less he said, take your son, your only son, and offer him up as a burnt offering. I'm kind of paraphrasing here. So he goes to do that. And the angel of God, Yahweh, told him to stop. He was having him act out what God did with his son, offering him up as the atonement for the whole world, the propitiation. It says in here, verse 15, and the angel of Yahweh called to Abraham a second time out of heaven and said, after he had almost sacrificed his son, he said, by myself I have sworn, says Yahweh, because you have done this thing and have not withheld your son, your only son, blessing I will bless you, and multiplying I will multiply your descendants as the stars of heaven and as the sand that is on the seashore. And your descendants shall possess the gate. This implies a narrow passage here. It implies a sea gate. Actually, the land of Israel in the Middle East was like the biggest trading route between all the continents over there. You had Europe, you had Africa, you had Asia, you had one of the Middle East isn't a continent. They would run through Israel. They would tax, or they would have to pay tolls to take their stuff they were trading through Israel. This was expanded later, the British Empire and the American Empire, where the American Empire now controls the 7 seas. Sea gates of your enemies. We had the Panama Canal, we had the Suez Canal, we had all the canals in the world, and controlled all the nations. Possess the gate of your enemies, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. because you have obeyed my voice. Now, I didn't go to it here, and I'm not going to go to it. He said, in blessing you, I will make you Abram to Abraham, father of many, a father of many nations. Many nations. Kings would come out of his loins. And this was given to Isaac, the covenant. This covenant, which is not by the law, not by the Torah, not by obedience to the Torah. When they received the promises which in the Holy Land over there in the Middle East, that was a small forerunner to maintain being in the land and being blessed. That's where the Torah kind of came in. That's where it's coming in now in these latter days too. We are now under the curses. We receive the blessings again in the latter days. I'll show you. Now we are under the curses. And the Damascus Oracle is unfolding right before your eyes. And you may not even know it. Probably don't. That's going to change. It has to. So, multitude of the nations, descendants as the stars of heaven, and as the dust of the earth, all on Abraham's obedience. Now we're going to go next to Genesis 48. And we are going to see where Joseph's two sons, and especially the youngest son, Ephraim, or Ephraim, however you want to pronounce it. I've heard it so many ways. Let's pick it up in verse 8. This is the passing of the birthright blessing, which Esau, for a bowl of soup, or stew, red stew, gave it up. Gave his birthright blessing away. Then Israel saw Joseph's sons and said in the land of Egypt, "Who are these?" Joseph said to his father, "They are my sons, whom God has given me in this place." And he said, "Please bring them to me, and I will bless them." So now the eyes of Israel were dim with age, so that he could not see. Then Joseph brought them near him, and he kissed them and embraced them, and said to Joseph, "I had not thought to see your face, but in fact, God has also shown me your offspring." So Joseph brought them from beside his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim, which was on his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh, which was on his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near him. Then Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head. That's the greater blessing, who was the younger, and on the left hand of Manasseh's head, guiding his hands knowingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, "God, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has fed me all my life long this day, the angel who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads. Let my name be named on them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac." So the United States and Great Britain, who is Manasseh, we have the names Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph. Primarily the United States, Ephraim, the younger brother, number 13. And let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Now when Joseph saw that his father had laid his right hand on his head, or on the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, so he took hold of his father's hand and removed it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, "Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn, Manasseh. Put your right hand on his head." But his father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He shall become a people, and he shall be great." Great Britain. He carries the name. "But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations." Now, remember that Ephraim was to become a multitude of nations. And no, it doesn't mean, even though the 10 northern tribes can be called Ephraim because Ephraim was the lead tribe, doesn't mean it includes all the tribes of Israel. This is the blessing that goes specifically to Ephraim. In Genesis 49, they all get a blessing. Well, most get a blessing. So he blessed them and said, by you, Israel, will bless, saying, may God make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And thus he set Ephraim before Manasseh. So, multitude of nations. Let's just go ahead and look at the kingdom of Israel. Okay. Oops. I can't move it up and down. The kingdom of Israel before they were taken out in 721 BC by the Assyrians. Notice Ephraim here. Notice it looks like the United States. Ephraim here is not a multitude of nations. In the Old Testament kingdom, it never received that birthright blessing, although this under Solomon, under David, under Solomon, that was a type. Okay? It was a shadow. A prophecy is dual. It's playing out again in the latter days. But again, look at the shape of Ephraim. Let's look at it closer. Okay? Look at the shape of Ephraim here. Hopefully I can center this. Look. Look at New England here. The Great Lakes. Ohio. That's where I live. Okay, look at the West Coast. Okay, actually it dips down here, California, toward like it looks like the Gulf of California here. Kind of looks like the Gulf of Mexico here, Texas here a little bit, Florida. Okay, the thing that has been is what will be. Hidden in plain sight. It was the most prosperous tribe of the Old Kingdom. But it never, ever received the birthright blessing, the zenith birthright blessing of becoming a multitude of nations. Okay. Take a look. Here's Manasseh to the north. That would be Canada. And then over a body of water, here's Manasseh. You can flip it back. Okay. Manasseh, Manasseh. Greater landmass, lesser population than Ephraim. England will represent over here to the east of the Jordan River. Canada, north of Ephraim. All it's all playing out again and on a worldwide grand scale. I say it all the time, but that's just the only way I can kind of drive it home here. Prophecy is dual. Okay, so what happened? They were taken out in 721. We'll cut it short here. 721 BC. Taken out by the Assyrians, breaking the old covenant to stay in the land and be blessed. So they were taken to Assyria, taken captive, what little was left of them. And then let me back up. Leviticus 26, God said, if you break my covenant, don't keep my commandments, I will punish you 7 times for your sins. So he withheld the zenith birthright blessing from the time they left in 721 BC, 7 times or 7 years. 360 days in a year comes to 2,520 years. From 721 BC plus 2,520 years, that's the Hebrew calendar, you come to 1803. The British Empire burst forth on the scene. The United States doubled in size with the Louisiana Purchase. I should have thrown pictures up there of that, but I didn't. It didn't meet the Ephraim here, did not meet the blessing given to Joseph's 2 sons, the zenith blessing, to be a multitude of nations. So it was withheld. They were carried out. I think I have a picture here. They were, as best I could here, let me get I lost my mouse. Nope, wrong picture, guys. There. Okay. They went to Assyria, carried out. Even before that, they had migrated. This is the pre-captivity period in the green. Even going to Ireland, Dan, to Manasseh, Scotland, Asher, I do believe. What, Wales, Simeon. So, France, Reuben. So they migrated out, and in the latter days, as we'll go to Genesis next. Don't know what that's for. Genesis 49. Okay? 49. God declares the end from the beginning. Isaiah 46, 9 through 11. I am God, there's none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning. He knew all these things beforehand. Before he laid the foundation of the earth, he knew. He even told Moses before Israel went into the land. He said, these people will go a-whoring after other gods. They will break my covenant, and I will disinherit them, and I will scatter them among all the nations. He knew. What did it take? Like 5,000 years? Almost to bring the full birthright blessings of Abraham to fruition. And Jacob called his sons and said, gather together that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days. Gather together and hear, O you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. Jacob, he goes through the blessings. What will befall you in the last days? This is now. You only have one nation that possesses the gates of their enemies, possesses. The sea gates, controls the seven seas. One superpower that is a multitude of nations. This was revealed to me in 1985 in the fall. First thing I thought of, California had the second largest economy in the world. It's like a country, and it's bigger than most countries on the earth. Here's the blessing of Joseph. Joseph is a fruitful vine, a fruitful plant. A fruitful plant, the vine by a well. His branches run over the wall. He's a colonizing people. First, the British Empire, 1/4 of the earth's surface, but they were mostly Gentile lands. The archers had bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him, but his bow remained in strength, and his arms were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. That's where we get our military might. God says later in, I believe it's Amos 6, among other places, I abhor the pride of Jacob. Trump even wanted to have a military parade. He's flaunting our military around like, this is where we get our... No, we don't. We get it from the Almighty. We get it from Elohim. We get it from Yahweh, the self-existent one. That's where we get our blessings. With the blessings of heaven above, with the blessings of the deep lies beneath, blessings of the breasts and of the womb. Who fed Egypt with bread? Who feeds the world with bread today? Who manages the world like Joseph? Well, not like Joseph did. He was smart. He demanded something in return for everything he gave out. We just gave everything away. We didn't know who we were. After we received the zenith birthright blessing, after World War II, when we defeated our ancient enemy Assyria, who was being stirred up at this very moment, along with the beginnings of the Damascus Oracle. Blessings of the breasts and of the womb. The blessings of your father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors. up to the utmost bound and everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph. We brought the standard of living of the world up. That's a shadow of, and in thy seed, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Of course, it's the Messiah, the Christ. And on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. So if we go here and we go back, look at Britain, separate. He's west of his brethren in northwestern Europe. Look at the United States. Joseph was separated from his brothers. So it is today. Hidden in plain sight. They're separate. Who possesses the gate of their enemies? Who controls the seven seas? Right now, Russia has an armada in the Mediterranean Sea. We have ships all around the Mediterranean. If a war broke out, we would dust Russia. And that's what I'm seeing more and more. Because something has to stand out to make Ephraim known again to at least some of those who are, look, we're going to be the one that bears the scorn of the nations. There's going to be a series of judgments coming on the nations. First, it's going to be on the house of Israel, primarily Ephraim. Hosea 5, verse 8 and 9. Then, probably along with us, the king of the south, Egypt and Islam, which we will rely on that staff of read Egypt again, which we are starting more and more to do now. Then it says that a trap will be laid for Esau, Edom, and Obadiah. They will be deceived. A trap will be laid by your allies. They will deceive you. 1/3 of mankind is going to be killed. Then it will be on Babylon. Once again, a great assembly of nations, Jeremiah 50 and 51, will come out of the north. Gog, Magog, Tubal, Rosh, just like World War II again, and will roll through Europe, Germany, Assyria, as Christ is returning to the earth. Okay? The United States is going to be the first to bear the scorn of the nations. So here we have the latter day. Well, take a look. Here we have the latter day fulfillment of Ephraim. Look at the shape once again of, look at the shape of the United States. Okay. Oh, by the way, I forgot to read. Here's the kingdom of Judah, the two kingdoms split. House of Israel, or kingdom of Israel, and the kingdom of Judah. Okay, look at it. I can't move it up or down. Judah, that's who's dwelling over in the Holy Land today and goes by our name. Judah was the fourth son of Jacob. He's the father of the Jewish people. Judah, Yehuda, the Jews. Israel, kingdom of Israel, the 10 northern tribes, they were carried out in 721 BC. Gone. I wanted to bring up 1 Kings 12 when Jeroboam caused the northern kingdom to sin, to go after the two calves. He changed the dates of the holy days, especially the Feast of Tabernacles, to the 8th month. On the 15th day of the 8th month, he more or less changed all the holy days and changed the Sabbath. Now the Sabbath, the physical Sabbath, is the sign between, or the Sabbaths, is the sign between God and physical Israel that they are his people. That's what sets them apart or sanctifies them. The northern kingdom quit keeping the physical Sabbath, so they don't know who they are. They are as Goyim. They are as the Gentiles now among the other nations. And so they are treated by their brother Judah. They never quit keeping the Sabbath, so they know their identity. Once again, the Damascus Oracle, and I might put the name Damascus Oracle on the title of this, is beginning to play out again. Right under your eyes. Only this time, we don't know who we are. So, once again, but truly his younger brother will be greater than he, and he will become a multitude of nations. I mean, this is real simple. It's not hard. Then again, it is hard. It's one of the top 2 hated truths that I witness. Because much of the 144,000 are going to come out of the United States. Revelation 7:1 through 8. The tribe of Joseph mentioned there, not Ephraim. The stick of Joseph is in the hand of Ephraim. Ezekiel 37. Go look at it. I forget exactly what verse or verses. So, okay, I'm witnessing this to you from pointing the camera into the computer. So, 2 kingdoms. One was taken out in 721 BC. The other one, I forget exactly what year, taken out by the Babylonians, only to return 70 years later. Then sacked by the Romans in 70 AD, scattered into all the nations. They never lost their identity. The 10 northern tribes did. So I'm trying to show you that Ephraim, which most people don't think exists today, that they were destroyed and taken out because their disobedience to the law. Well, it was on the promises to Abraham for his obedience. If you're living well in the United States, it's because of his obedience. This is the power of your Father at work, which most everybody denies. He is so powerful, he's going to gather up every fragment, every person that was ever born. He's going to save them. So I just wanted to run this by you at a different angle. Thank you for your time. And thank you